once again to another one of our behavior talks. We've come to the last Saturday of the month again, and that means another Q&A. So why don't we just go ahead and jump right into the questions themselves. All right, so our first question has to do with taking medications. So this is a 9-year-old girl, and she needs to take frequent medication due to nasal infections. So she can consume the powdered form of the medication when mom mixes it in with water. And the hospital says that the pill form is still better for her. And so she wants to know, like, oh, how do I help my child learn to take this pill medication? We actually had one of our clients out here, and he was an older boy. And throughout his life, you know, mom had to sneak vitamins and sneak medications into him. So she would grind it up and put it in his meal, you know, try to mix it in with his yogurt. And she had to do all of these kind of things. So for him, what we did was we started by having him try to swallow with water a very, very tiny, tiny piece of candy that's in the US called Nerds. So that's what we did, is that we would place this, and Nerds are so small. They're very, very tiny. And so we would have him open his mouth. We would put the Nerd right on his tongue, and then we would give him some water to swallow, you know? And sometimes before we would show him what we wanted him to do. So we would put it on our own tongue. We would take the water, we'll drink it, and then we'll open our mouth, and then the Nerd would be gone. So that's where we started with him, is we put it on his tongue, we give him some water, we had him drink it, and then he would try to swallow it with the water. And in the beginning, we experienced a lot of failure. Like, we don't know how he did it, but we would put it on his tongue, he would take the water, he'd drink the water, he opened his mouth, and the Nerd would still right be there on his tongue. So whenever he did that, we would tell him, no, we'd take the Nerd out, put a new one on, and go through that process again. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to reinforce the one time that he's able to actually take the water, drink it, and have that small piece of candy be gone when after he swallows. And so that's where we started, where we had a lot more failures than successes. But when he was successful, we made sure that he got his favorite thing in the world, to make sure that he knew, like, okay, this is exactly what we wanted him to do. All right. And so as he got better and better with that, then we slowly increased the size of the item that we had him swallow, you know, so we increased the size of the Nerd. So the smallest Nerds we could find, we started with those. As he got better and better, then we got bigger and bigger pieces of those, until we can actually get to actual lifelike type of tablets. So eventually we got them to be able to order the capsules, you know, those gel capsules that have no medicine in it. Because we as therapists, we can't actually administer medication. So when we practice it, we have to practice with like empty medical pills, you know. But we started with the smallest size that we could get, and we grew it and grew it and grew it until nowadays he's 19 and he can dry swallow like really large pills. Like, and dry swallowing is nothing that we ever taught him. It's just something that he learned how to do. Now, attached to this question, there was also a little bit about, like, well, how do you get them to take liquid medications as well? So it's basically like how we would desensitize a child to different foods that they may not like, you know? So in the beginning, we start off with very small portions of that item, and then we make sure that the child, there's no escape from the task. That, okay, when I tell you to swallow this small amount of liquid, you're going to swallow it, and then there's big reinforcement if you do. That's how we desensitize them to the liquid medicine.